Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is the Surge Effect. In this podcast, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. In this episode of the Surge Effect, we're going to be talking about what's been going on in Canada here with the home invasions, and just over the last week or so. And hopefully it's hit the mainstream media somewhere along the line. If not, hopefully I got a couple of videos here that will shed a little bit of light on what's transpired here in Canada. And towards the end of the video, my podcast, I'll show you a couple of clips of what some of the people in the States think about law enforcement, think about home invasion, compared to what law enforcement here in Canada think about home invasion. I'd like to know what you think about home invasion, please. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Much appreciated. All right, let's get into today's podcast. All right, first, I'm going to show you a clip of this man here that was, unfortunately, was expired by some monsters that invaded his home. And this was in Vaughan. And it was just the other day. It was terrible what happened. You can read about it on the papers, but right there it says, man in Vaughan, home invasion was boom, boom. And this was in front of his children. Disgusting. You're in your home, you're sleeping, you're with your children, your wife, taking it easy, and then scumbags come in and decide to do that to you. And here's another one. Ontario invasion again. Woman was intentionally struck by one of the two suspects with a vehicle, and then she exited her vehicle. The second suspect at this time kidnapped her. Yep, these scumbags did that. Here's another one here. This scumbag monster in Welland. What he did to a young girl. Broke into a house and assaulted her. And I can't even begin to tell you what this monster right here, the face of a monster that shouldn't even be living amongst us, did to a young, helpless 4-year-old girl. Yeah, that's right. Look at that. That's a face of a monster. Anyway, that guy is in jail right now, and I hope that he never sees the light of day. Unfortunately, in Canada, we do not have the death penalty. I wish we did, because that scumbag would be first on the hit list this week, for sure. Anyway, here's... says, yes, self-defense is allowed in Canada. Misinformation abounds as man charged in assault of intruder, the lawyer says. And this was the Lindsay case. This was the Lindsay case of the one I just talked about, the very, very first one of the man defending his family. You'll hear a little bit more about that in a second. But here is a video clip of the man that was charged, that was in Lindsay, and he was protecting himself because this guy broke into a house, this guy's house, into his daughter's room, and he was actually on his cell phone, and he was going to call 911. The intruder saw the phone, light of the phone, and hit the homeowner over the head with a crossbow, I guess. He had a crossbow at the time, and 2 other assailants were waiting outside for him. So listen what this guy has to say.
Isso é tudo de errado neste país. Homem de Ontário foi acusado de...
Well, so it's Lindsay man charged after allegedly assaulting a home intruder. The alleged intruder and homeowner are both facing charges. That's in the Kawartha Lakes district, which is up in the Haliburton area, Minden area, right? And that fellow there talked a little bit about that. So if you don't believe what people have to say here in law enforcement, listen to what this guy here has to say. This is Chief McSween. Listen to what he says about when people come into your home.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary.
Is that the most ridiculous thing that you've ever heard come out of a law enforcement's mouth in quite some time? Here's a sheriff from the United States of America. He's talking about a blue state, talking about a Democratic state wanting to flip the script on protecting yourself. And this is what this guy has to say. Listen to this.
They care more about criminals. I mean, they want criminals to thrive, and it's just bizarre to me. So how you could even have the thought process that said people should not be able to protect themselves is beyond me. I honestly, I don't understand it. And I've never heard a sane, legitimate argument otherwise. This is basically saying if someone approaches you and is going to rob you or steal your stuff or harm you, your only option is to run, and they get whatever they want. If they're there to steal your car or your purse or your wallet or harm your wife or your kids, your only option is to run away from them. They get to do whatever it is they want, and you just have to run away. And this is like the absolute ultimate display of zero consequence for criminal behavior.
Exactly. And this is what they seem to want to do. So what I'm going to show you here is a little disturbing, but this was a clip that was just released by the police here in Ontario of three scumbags trying to break into someone's home. And then, of course, they got scared away. But this was just released at the other day by York Regional Police here in Ontario. A little bit disturbing, like I said, so if you're sensitive, don't watch this video. So these people, they scared them away, and these three intruders fled. But this was in the wee hours in the morning. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And you imagine getting woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, I'm sure that you'd know what you'd do. I'm sure you have a plan. A lot of people do, but it's disgusting. This is what's happening. But these, law enforcement are saying, "Oh, just don't do anything. Don't Are you serious? It's ridiculous." This is what Doug Ford had to say about the system being broken the other day.
Everyone hear about the story in Lindsay? So this criminal that's wanted by the police breaks into this guy's house. This guy gives him a beating, and this guy gets charged. And the other guy gets charged. But something is broken. I know if someone breaks into my house or someone else's, you're going to fight for your life. This guy has a weapon. You're going to use any force you possibly can to protect your family. Or the violence and breaking into people's homes, putting guns to their head. And guess what? Some bleeding heart judge, little Johnny, he didn't have a good upbringing. So we're going to let him out on bail 5 more times because he's on his 5th, being let out on bail 5 times, just to go do the same thing the next day. I'll tell you one thing. I get more calls than anyone in the country. People are done with this. They're absolutely done. They're finished. You should be able to protect your family when someone's going in there to harm your family and your kids. you should use all resources you possibly can to protect your family. And maybe these criminals will think twice about breaking into someone's home.
And that's Doug Ford. He is the Premier of Ontario. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, leave some comments. But Doug Ford, I believe, can tell his prosecutors to go after these people, right? With everything in their toolbox. He's allowed to do that. He's a Premier of Ontario. So here is Pierre Poilievre talking about one of the home invasions, and this is what he had to say. This was the other day.
The law needs to be clear that if someone comes into your house uninvited to steal your property or harm your family, you need to be able to do whatever is necessary to stop them. And my message to the criminal thugs who are invading the homes of Canadians in unprecedented numbers because of Liberal laws is that you should be in serious danger if you go into someone's house illegally and try to harm them. If you don't want to be harmed, then don't invade someone's house and don't threaten their security. The law needs to be very clear that people have the right to defend their homes and their families against lawbreakers.
That's simple, right? They should have the right to defend themselves. I should. All my fellow Canadians should. You break into our house, you come into our space, that's on you. And whatever happens after that, it's on you. That's how I look at it. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous what they're doing. So here's another clip of Pierre Poilievre. He's being asked a question literally just the other day. This is from it's from the very first break-in I was telling you about, that the father stood in the way and protected his family and paid the ultimate price for that. But this is a question by David Menzies from Rebel News, and this is what the answer was from Pierre Poilievre.
Mr. Poilievre, David Menzies with Rebel News.
Yes, David.
Mr. Poilievre, literally as we are speaking right now, just a little bit north of this hotel in Vaughan, a funeral is taking place for Abdul Aleem Faruqi. As you know, this is the 46-year-old father who paid the ultimate price in defending his family against home invaders. And yet yesterday, York Regional Police Chief Jim McSween, he held a news conference and he said a couple of things. One is that he wants citizens to comply during a home invasion and wait for police to arrive. He also said, quote, not to take matters into their own hands, end quote. It almost seems as though Chief McSween wants law-abiding citizens to be compliant victims. And of course, last week, in response to your comments about strengthening self-defense laws, the Justice Minister, Sean Fraser, stated on X, quote, this isn't the Wild West, it's Canada. Canadians deserve real solutions that make us safe, not slogans that inspire fear and chaos for Pierre's political survival, end quote. My question, Mr. Poilievre, is what is your response to the comments made by Chief McSween and Justice Minister Fraser?
Well, let's start with Sean Fraser's comments. He says it's not the Wild West out there. Oh, really? Maybe he should talk to Mr. Faruqi's family, this courageous and heroic man who came to the defense of his children who will be traumatized for the rest of their life by watching their father mercilessly killed by a criminal who should be in the slammer. And I hope that those children will, as much as their lives are going to be much more difficult, I hope that as they get older, they understand the true hero that their father was. I'm sure he didn't want to be defending his family. He wanted to be sleeping in bed like the rest of us, but he did it because of the instinct of a father to stand and fight and defend his home and his family from an invader. He shouldn't have had to, but Liberal laws turned criminals free on our streets again and again and again. The Liberals have known this for years. Police officers, mayors, community groups have been crying out for an end to the Liberal catch and release criminal justice system. And yet Mark Carney, who's been Prime Minister for 5 months now, decided to go on vacation before ever reversing those laws, and made an even bigger mistake in appointing Sean Fraser as his justice minister, a man who first ruined the immigration system as the immigration minister under Trudeau, and then ruined the housing market as the housing minister, and to give him a third chance to screw something up, Carney has put Sean Fraser in charge of this. It's no wonder crime is raging out of control. My message is that we want to end the Wild West, lock up the criminals and throw away the key. 3 strikes, you're out. You do 3 violent offenses, you go to jail and you never get out. And I'll add this. People have a right to defend their home. Your home is your castle. Someone comes into your house and threatens your family, you should have the right to take force against them to defend your family. That's what Conservatives propose with the Stand on Guard Act, and that is what we will fight for in this fall session.
You see, that's what's called common sense, everyone. Common sense. Unbelievable. So I'm going to show you a couple more clips here. This is the difference between Canadian law enforcement and United States law enforcement and what they have to talk about in regards to home invasions and people, invading your space, invading your property. Here we go.
To prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your fobs at your front door. Because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. A lot of them that they're arresting have guns on them, and they're not toy guns, they're real guns. They're loaded.
Just leave your fob at the front door. Just let them have your car, right? Yeah, they'll leave you alone, I'm sure. They just open the door, grab the fob, and off they go. What a crock.
So one of the homeowners, he was breaking into their house, and they shot at him. And I want to say, as to the person, we don't know which homeowner shot at him. I guess they think that they did something wrong, which they did not. If somebody's breaking into your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. So whoever that was, you're not in trouble. Come see us. We have a gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. And if you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers money.
Bit of a difference between U.S. and Canadian law enforcement. In Canada, help the criminals. In the U.S., shoot them.
There you go. Right? So there's one take. Here is another take.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here. If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play.
That's how they do things down in the States. A little bit different. And here's one more. You've probably seen this guy before, Sheriff Grady Judd. And here's what he has to say in regards to these things.
But we have received information in social media that some of the criminals were going to take their criminal conduct into the neighborhoods. I would tell them, if you value your life, you probably shouldn't do that in Polk County, because the people of Polk County like guns. They have guns. I encourage them to own guns. And they're going to be in their homes tonight with their guns loaded. And if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with their guns.
It's just that simple. And that's how they look at it down there, right? And what's wrong with that? How do you look at it? Leave the comments below of any of the stuff that I've just played. This shouldn't be really controversial. This is pretty straightforward. It's common sense stuff, right? Someone breaks into your house, your wife, your children sleep there, and they're there to do what? Bring you cookies? No, they're there to create harm. They're there to do something harmful to you or your family. What are you going to do? Let me know. Leave in the comments. I'm sure this video will be shared. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I've done my little part. And plus, I will be firing off another email to my local member of parliament in regards to this as well. We've become fairly close over the last couple of years of me writing him. So anyway, listen, I'm going to call the podcast. That's 20 minutes in. I always like to end my podcast with thank you very much for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. Helps with the algorithm in YouTube. So please share it, like it, show your friends. I can't say anything more than that, but when you subscribe, it really does go a long way. I always like to finish off my podcast with this as well. I always like to tell people that life is tough. It's super tough. It's not easy. It's very difficult. Everyone is going through something. Everyone. I go through things. Everyone has something on their plate. My advice to you, whether you choose to take it or whether you don't, is you got to do one thing. And if you watch my podcast, you know what I'm about to say. That's right. Keep moving forward. You got to keep moving forward. Nothing for you back there. Nothing. It's already past. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, and today's a present. That's why they call it a gift. Keep moving forward. That's it for today's podcast, everyone. Like I said, thanks for watching, and subscribe, like, and share. Till next time, cheers, everyone.